Corruption is so bad in Nigeria that you cannot defend anybody and you cannot trust anybody.
Corruption is not about embezzling money. Selfish interest is also corruption. When you have a selfish interest against your nation, it's corruption.
That doesn't change the Nigerian in us. Are you hearing me?
They gave us cars. And when they gave us cars, I refused it. Otherwise, I won't get a house in Bodija Estate.
What's the problem with the Southerner becoming the chairman of Nigeria?
I don't know. We have problems.
My brother, your guess is as good as mine. I've always been asking this question.
Are you saying that government is not doing well in regards to the policy?
No, they are doing very well.
There's no way we can look at women and children issues without even looking at discussing with the men.
Tackles only on OSBC. Hello viewers, you're welcome to Tackles today on OSBC TV. My name is DJ Adefila. My guest on the program today is someone I can call an industrialist, someone that has traveled wild and has seen a whole lot of things. And in order to make and to replicate what he has seen out here, to come back to his own state, that's one of the essence of actually having him on the program today, and to be looking at some developmental programs as far as Nigeria is concerned. There is no doubt the country has a bit of challenges right now, and there is need for people to rise up at every place that we find ourselves, in the town, in the cities, and even in the villages. We have to do something, giving back to society, so that we can have a better place that we can call our home. His name is Dr. Ayoade Adewopo. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, just like you heard from my intro, I want us to just look at just basic things, major things, as far as Nigeria is concerned. No doubt, President Muhammadu Buhari has spent 1 year in office, and there have been a lot of talks here and there. People have been saying so many things. Some saying, well, it's below average, what we have seen so far. Before we go into the development of things, how can you access this? The 365 days?
So far, I would say so far so good.
Yeah.
365 days of President Buhari has been 365 tough days for Nigerians. The government came in on the mantra of change, and the people are seeing change. Change, whether they look at it from either good or bad, then there's a change. I'm not in the position to discuss politics, so I'll leave it in the position for the people to make that decision whether they're seeing good changes or bad changes. One is, whenever there's a new government, you know there's going to be tough times. There's going to be hard times because new decisions will be made. That is what our people are seeing. The queues are coming, they're going. There's been a price hike in fuel prices. There's going to be a conformity to the changes that have been made. And we're going to see the consequences of having a new government or a different government in place. My major focus as a person right now is to look back at my own home state, at a state that my father loved so much and taught so much of the creation of Osun State before it was created. And as a younger man, then I was privy to a lot of conversations in the house to the creation of the state. So upon return to this country and driving through the state of Osun, or the Osun State, I am not too happy with what I see in the state. And whether it's the past government or the current government that is there, I have not seen anything that would make me glad or gladden my heart to look at the youths of my state and think of the future.
Okay. That means you're talking with respect to the youth that you have seen around, or just the general perspective?
The general perspective of the state.
I want to assume that you're looking at it from the area of where you're coming from. Those are developed nations that you have lived. Now you're coming back to, this is Nigeria.
But
this is the reality.
We've been to other places.
Okay.
We've been to other places in Nigeria, and we see things that are done differently. We've seen things in a different sphere. We've seen developments happen in other states, in other cities. I mean, let's look at different. I don't want to start pitching states against states.
Yeah.
But in the southwest, in the northwest, in the south, you see certain places, even in the south today, their citizens don't go out anymore. Those people that we used to look at and say, okay, these are the ones we hire, as house boys, house girls back in the days. Not to mention any states.
Yeah.
We can decipher. You don't see them anymore because you see them going back. You see developments going on. But for us, I'm not seeing joy on the faces of my people, and that is the sincere truth, that we're not saying our people are not happy.
I think it's because you have come at a time where economically the country is broke.
Then we need an emergency resuscitation plan. We need an emergency economic resuscitation plan for the state of Osun to make things different. We need to sit back at the drawing board and look at what can we do to make our people happy. If your people are not happy, you cannot be happy. If we've been given the opportunity to have traversed around the world, to have had the opportunity to see almost every continent, if not all, to hold back because they will say Antarctica is a continent now, and I've not been to Antarctica, but I've lived, worked, and studied on every continent. Okay, and if I've had that opportunity and I come home to a state not huge, this is not a massively big state in terms of land mass. In terms of the Nigerian context, we say, Osun State is big, but in terms of global context, it's not big. And we come around, and I cannot see, the joy on the faces of my people, the joy on the faces of the students, the joy on the faces of the workers, and people are not happy to get up in the morning and say, I'm going to work, which is the most important thing for any man, to wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to work, and he feels happy that he is going, then something needs to be done.
Yeah. And
without
come back eventually and bring money back
and
home.
bring money home. And a lot of times I think the issue is we're always pointing the finger to the government. Okay, but a lot of us have traveled. A lot of us have seen things. A lot of us have maybe resources that we can collectively put together. Then let's put those resources together and do something for our people. And that is what brought about the foundation.
Okay, now let's look at your foundation. I was privileged to be there, when the foundation of that foundation was laid. And the foundation in the name of your father now, Adewopo. That's talking about Papa Johnson himself, Adewopo. Looking at it specifically, you have come to do something in his name right now, putting together a soap factory. Bringing such a thing. I understand you are from Ile-Ife.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Anede.
And Anede, to both.
I'm a dual citizen of Osun State.
Okay, but and interestingly, you're trying to make your soap factory, and you have decided to take it to Iwo.
Okay.
Why Iwo?
Why Iwo? Let me start off. The foundation is named after our father.
Yeah.
Okay. The children we came together and we decided to do something in his name, in his honor, because of his love for this great state of Osun.
Yeah.
And the foundation is Johnson Adewopo Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay. Our father is from Iwo, our mom is from Ede, my dad is from the Ogboru ruling house in Ile-Ife. My mom is the first daughter, our mother is the first daughter of the late Timilaoye, in Ede. Oh. So from both sides we understand service. Because our forefathers, our ancestors were people who gave themselves to the service.
Service. You're not talking royalty.
Not just royalty, service. If you're called to be and a crown is placed upon your head, God has called you to the service of your people. That is the essence of the crown upon your head. It's for you to serve your people. So you have to understand service first. And when we began to look at what can we do, we thought of it and said, okay, the first thing first is economic empowerment, economic development of our people.
Yeah. And
when you look at Osun State as a whole, okay, the gateway into Osun State is Iwo from Ibadan. Either you're coming in through Iwo or you're coming in through Ikire. So Iwo local government is the single largest local government in terms of population in the state of Osun. Okay, that makes Iwo the gate city. I did not say Ogun State is the gateway. It's a gate city. It's a gate city. When you get to a house and the gate of the house looks ugly, dilapidated, okay, you would say to yourself, this is an ugly home. I don't want to come in. But let's start even from the border and begin to build our state inwards. We can be selfish and say, okay, you know what, this is where our father is from, this is where our mother is from, let's take it there and get started and get recognition amongst our own people. But that is not the essence. The essence of this is not to get recognition amongst my own people. The essence of this is to create development to the people who don't know me, who don't know us, who have no affiliation to us, but then we're taking things to show this is how things should be done. Enough of people just thinking first, my people. Let's think first, our state. What can we give to this state? How can this state become a better place? What are the things we need to do? We should be ready to pay the price.
Let me quickly cut you. Why did you name the foundation? I mean the factory, Telu Soap Factory? Because I know the Oba of Iwo is Telu the first.
Yes.
So why did you?
After listening to the history,
do you know him?
Yes, I know the Olu of Iwo.
Okay.
Personally, he's a very good man, a great person with great ideas for Iwo. And after listening to the story, okay, of Iwo and the coming about of Iwo, who else to take it? We don't name it after our father. Our father's name is the foundation. But each time you do something, it doesn't have to be self. Let's give something to the people that they can reckon with. The people of Iwo have never reckoned with Telu until this current king came. And Telu is supposed to be one of the founders of Iwo, the one who was sent to look for Iwo. Okay, so taking the soap factory now and calling it Telu Soap Factory has brought the first recognition to that place. The people can reckon with it. They can come with it, see it as their own. It is not mine. It is theirs. It is theirs to grow, to develop, to till the ground. So we've brought something that they will be the ones to till the ground there in Iwo. They will be the ones to lay the blocks in Iwo. They will be the ones to paint it, to tile it. So you are creating job opportunities. The people there, somebody, a man who leaves his house. Now it is not government. He leaves his house in the morning. He goes to work. He's done something. He is sure of his salary. His wife, he can take something back home. There's a ripple effect of economic development. He can take something back home to his wife, whether it's 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, to say, hey, my darling, my baby, take this, go and start a small business. Even if it's recharge cards you're selling, he's doing something. She is buying a recharge card from somebody else who is selling. There's a ripple effect of economic development. That is what we need to think of for this great state. We need to start thinking of small scale industries. Then maybe we'll go to the large scale industries, medium scale, small scale, medium scale, large scale. Begin to think the way China developed China, the way Singapore, Malaysia developed. They are not bigger. The entire place, they are not really as much bigger than we are. But they've taken development stage by stage. They've looked at things in a different perspective, in a different sphere. That today, we are all clamoring and running down to Guangzhou, to buy things. Just because somebody somewhere sat down and said, you know what, let's create cottage industries. Let's create small scale industries. Ideas. Let's begin to make wick for kerosene stove. Just a wick for kerosene stove is made. And the whole world today goes to China to buy kerosene stove wick. We can do that here in this great state of fruit. We are blessed with knowledge. We have a lot of higher institutions. We're training students day by day. And we're losing them. We train students in Great Ife. We train students in Adeleke University. That's somebody, another leader here who brought Adeleke University to the state. Is in Ede.
How do you mean we're losing them?
We're losing the students. Every time we don't have industries for them to stay. So we use our resources. We use our sources here
to train them.
And they go. So what can we do to keep these great minds? We have great schools coming up in this place. Federal Polytechnic Ede is there. Adeleke University is there. King's University is there. You come to Osun State, one of our great leaders in Osun State had a vision, created Osun State University, and spread it across geopolitical zones in this state. So they are there, and we're training kids. But at the end of the day, they graduate, and where do they go? They go off to Lagos, go off to Ibadan.
Dr. Adewopo, let me quickly bring you. There is something that has been consistent in your words since you started. You keep saying this great state, this great state. Can you emphasize a bit on how great Osun is?
Osun State, Osun is great to me. This is where my parents came from. This is my source. This is home. No matter where you've traveled, where I've been across the globe, this is home. That is one. What makes it great? It produced my father. It produced my mother. Okay, so it has produced me. So it's made it great. That is one. Two, it's produced great minds. The great Chief Bola Ige from this place. Great Senator Adeleke from this place. The great minds out of here. So it's produced a lot of great. It's produced our governors. Baba Konde. He's been a leader that's traversed different political parties. It takes a great mind to be consistently be called upon to come and lead. Political organizations. Consistently relevant. Our former governor, Olagunsoye Ilola. So you see the great minds that this state has produced. Who have taken things and transversed out of just being local. He's been called to be a governor in Ogun State. Okay, he's become governor in Osun State. He's gone on to become, I think, secretary to the great PDP party. We've had our current governor, who is from Malaysia here, who has been used in Lagos State as commissioner. So as commissioner, that means Lagos State has seen value in Osun State. So they called him and said, okay, you know what, come and be part of this. He's been local government chairman. So overall, cutting across all political spheres, Osun is a great state. Okay,
let's go back to the Telu Foundation, Telu Soap Factory that you're trying to bring into the state. I wanted to look at something. This is you, just you, coming to do something back into the state.
Us, the foundation.
Your foundation.
Yes.
Okay, let me just say your family.
Okay.
You're coming back to do. It's like a drop in the ocean. How well are you trying to probably bring in some of your other friends that are probably from the state to do so much more? If your family has one, another family has one in Ede, someone has in Ejigbo, someone has in Ikirun, and everywhere like that.
And
how well are you working at that?
That is the program that is in place, actually. In the background, I'm collecting data. Okay, collecting data of certain families, of certain individuals in the state, who we can rally around with, and say this is what the area needs. Immediately, the Telu Soap Factory, the groundbreaking was done. Another monarch called us and said, "Hey, we've heard of what this foundation has gone to do. As far as we are concerned, we need a Gari processing plant." And when he said that, I thought of it and said to myself, we produce a high number of cassava in Osun State. There is nothing that stops us from setting up a cassava processing plant in every federal constituency. In each federal constituency in Osun State, we can set up a cassava processing plant. It will reduce the price of Gari. First, for our own people, then we'll be able to take it out to export. And when we say export, it doesn't have to be overseas. We export to Lagos, we export to Kano. Everybody loves good Gari, and they know the great Gari comes from this side of the world. Okay, so we can do that. So just by doing that alone, imagine the number of jobs that will be created from the construction of those places now to the people who would work there. Now to the ones who work there, imagine how many of them will be able, if they are males, okay, will be able to empower their wives back at home. Because when your wife is even able only to sell 6 bags of pure water a day in the neighborhood, she's bringing something home that will take away some burden from you. Okay?
Yeah.
She's bringing something home that's taking away burden. And there is development, even how small it is. You see, I'm not talking, since I started talking, we started talking about this. I'm not talking about, oh, let's go bring in a rubber plant, you know, a major factory into the place. All those things, people would see where you start from. Yorubas have a proverb, okay? Let us first of all raise up our hands. When we raise up our hands as people here in Osun ourselves, the outsiders, okay, the Chinese, the Indians, the Malaysians, the Americans, okay, the Japanese, the Brits, the Europeans will come. But let them see what we are capable of doing. What are we capable of doing?
All right. Well, before we go on, finally, you know, you've started a foundation right now, and that is actually going to bring in some people, you know, into the place, no doubt about it. Like, how many people you're looking at to having in that factory?
At least the minimum from that region, we should be able to employ between 50 to 80 people.
Wow.
Between 50 to 80 people at a minimum. Because it's not just the soap we're going to do into disinfectants. Okay. You know, we're already, you know, doing the testing at a different site in Lagos now to make sure we're getting the best quality. It's not to produce something that is a wish-wash. We need to produce a world quality product that the people are proud of, to say this comes from my community.
Okay. Doctor, on a final note, before we get out of the studios, you know, you have come with this. I know you have that developmental passion in you. It's actually driving you right now, you know. But looking at it as a whole, as a person, what is actually driving you? Is it just the greatness in the state, or the fact that you were born here that is driving you, the driving force?
The driving force for me is one, to alleviate poverty. That's the driving force. Upon return to Nigeria after my sojourn abroad, and having had the opportunity through that sojourn to have worked with a lot of good people, to have worked with a lot of great minds, and coming home, there's one thing that kills me. I see a disdain for the poor in this country. People, suddenly you are in your car and you suddenly think the guy that is walking, God didn't create him. And I see that, you know, we make people, because you're in your own car, you're crossing, you have no respect for the pedestrian.
You look worthless.
You know, there's a disdain for the poor. So the first thing, what drives me the most is alleviation of poverty. Communal poverty, individual poverty. We need to alleviate poverty. We need to bring people out of the doldrums of poverty. We need to give people an opportunity to be able to stand on their feet and feel like human beings again. People have used wealth to rub on the poor's face and show them, you know, we don't need it. We don't need to drive our people down to raise up ourselves. So the first thing, the major thing that drives me passionately is alleviation of poverty. And whatsoever God has given to me to be able to drive home that message, to carry that message across, you know, this great state, we will do. And first of all, he said economic empowerment. Let us begin to bring people, you know, to begin to do things. You would notice when we did the groundbreaking ceremony for the soap factory, we invited our friends from all over. You know, our friends who came from Germany, who came from the UK, who came from the US, from Lagos, from Abuja. They came from everywhere, and you know, all from the States. But inviting them home to come and see what is possible. What is possible?
Wow.
You know, joy is possible.
Wow, viewers, I was speaking with Dr. Ayoade Adewopo. He's an industrialist, of course, and he has come back. He's a son of the soil, that, like people would say. You know, he's actually from Ife, where he decided to do something and start, like the place he called the Gate City. of the state of Osun, that is in Iwo, and I want to wish you well in your sojourn right now, because it's another sojourn entirely. You have done one abroad, now you're back home, to bring in development into our society. And to everyone out there, you can also do so many beautiful things, within your capacity, I can say. But I'm going to say thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thank you.
Well, and until next time, when I shall come your way again on Tacos, my name is Deji Adefila. Have a good day. God bless you.